Don't look to me. This is between you two right now.
I know, but it's usually you. I don't like this gimmick, and I will not be watching this video.
Hi, Parker.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, so I believe that there are only two genders, and I'd be willing to have you try to change my mind.
Okay. Parker.
I believe that there are more than two.
Okay.
And I'd be willing to change his mind. I think I can. I believe in myself.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we supposed to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm already behind a rope. I feel like I've lost.
Yeah.
But
Like
I'm going to
Gene
say
Stevens.
the are not. It's like arguing something's existence. It's like arguing the existence of God. So I feel like gender expression is kind of a different thing where people can find their own communities of people who feel similarly, who feel uncomfortable in their own skin, and it provides them an opportunity to blossom socially that otherwise they might not have if they were lying about their identity or if they continue to be uncomfortable in their own skin.
Sure. Okay. So I'm a believer that there's a difference between how you feel and what you actually are made up of, right? So I could pretend I'm a unicorn and go to a unicorns meeting, and feel like that's including me in a society, but that doesn't mean I'm a unicorn, right? Obviously.
Those people are called furries. They exist. And they're
So
very happy with their communities.
So based on science and biology and science, are those people unicorns though?
No, they're not. But I mean, you can't. That's something that can never change. It's about your brain chemistry and about the way that you're made up. The identity is a way of circumventing that. Like if you feel like you were born wrong, the opposing view would be that's just how it is, and you're kind of stuck. But this new school of thought allows people to be much more comfortable with who they are and not have it be tethered to something that they can't change.
So, I guess what I'd say to that is, I think there's so can you give me the difference between just feeling like you're something versus actually being it? What makes me, if I feel like I'm a woman, what makes me actually be a woman versus just saying, hey, I'm a woman?
Well, that's the debate, and I don't think conflating biology with that. There's a difference between brain chemistry and biology. Like if you're born biologically male, your brain chemistry you might have more estrogen than the average male, maybe, and you might lean towards one side a little bit more, and that can result.
But genetically, are you still a man?
Well, I mean, genetically, we only exist in two forms. But I feel like ostracizing the argument to, of course, there are men and women, but we've created more schools of thought, more ways for people to express themselves physically.
Okay, so if we're creating them, that means that they're not natural, correct?
Not natural.
If they're man-made, that means they're not natural, right?
That whole not natural thing brings up.
Don't look to me. This is between you two right now.
I know, but it's usually you. I don't like this gimmick, and I will not be watching this video.
I'm sorry. Apologize about that, man.
I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Look, I don't mean to be crass. I don't mean to be rude. The bottom line is, of course, biologically, the human animal, as do all other animals, they only exist in two binary forms.
Genders, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there are two genders then. That's what my stance is.
You really backed me into a corner, my friend. This is more arguing that we've reached a place mentally where we're expanding ourselves to more schools of thought that might result in interesting and new philosophies to move us forward and maybe have us be more harmonious with one another.
Sure, that's fair. Like that's something where I will say those are thoughts, right? You say those are thoughts, and anyone can have thoughts and feel like how they ever want, right? But that's what they are. They remain to be thoughts.
Yeah.
There's a difference between having a thought about something and feeling a certain way and actually biologically, physically being that thing.
Yeah.
And so that's where you get into kind of a gray area, right? It's like, what actually is something that I physically can be? What versus what can I feel like I am?
Well,
and what we're trying to say here is that there are two physical genders. There are two things that you can be. When you're born, you're either XX or XY chromosome, right? You're not going to be XY and then Z, za, zing, or whatever you can be,
Z,
right?
za, zing.
So, the chromosomes, those are the two things that you are, and that is fact.
I
whatever
get that.
you feel like, no one's saying that you can't feel like whatever you want to be, right? Like,
yeah.
I'm not 21 years old, and I might want to grab a beer every now and then, but I can't identify as 21, can I?
Well,
even though that's what I feel like.
I feel like the part of the human experience is having things in your head that you create and manifest into real life. So if you want to manifest your own identity or your own way of being perceived or perceiving yourself, I think you should be able to do that without people saying that it's not natural or biologically against.
So I have a question for you. So do you believe, like, since I'm not 21, if I want to go grab a beer down at the bar, can I say I feel like I'm 21 so I can go down to the bar?
No, but you can buy a fake ID, and for all intents and purposes, you are 21.
But that's not true. First of all, that's a crime. Second of all,
yes, it is a crime.
Second of all, that doesn't change the fact that my cells aren't 21 years old, right? That my psyche isn't 21 years old. It's still not real, is my point. So I can do all these things to make myself feel like I'm something that I'm not. And sure, maybe I can feel that way, right? But at the same,
do you see what I mean about the argument that we're having is real versus not real,
correct,
exists versus doesn't exist?
Yes.
But the argument of it's not real might stunt people's ability or openness to try and socialize with these groups or try to maybe explore their identity a little further.
Can I pause this here for a second? Do you mind, is that okay?
ahead.
Just because I know you have a time limit.
Yeah.
So this is kind of something that we run into a lot. I don't know who's watching who feels like this has sort of gotten off into the weeds a little bit. I think that you're both agreeing on a lot more than you realize. It seems to me.
Yeah, I think we've agreed from the beginning.
Well, it seems to me that if I'm not mistaken, you agree. You're saying that biological sex and gender are different from each other, correct?
I don't think you can. Yeah, they're different.
Sounds to me like you're saying that. And it sounds to me like you're saying, prove it.
Well, I'm saying prove it, and you can't biologically change your gender.
Well, yeah, but I think, and that is why it's very hard for us to get permits. So I think this is what's really important. This is one thing too. You're very logical, and I appreciate how articulate you are. But I think there can be a faster path to kind of get into the point here. Okay.
Sure, so
yeah.
Why do you believe, because you were talking about not wanting to marginalize people and how productive it can be for these people to engage with their communities. Mm-hmm. I think you would agree with that people should have community. We can all agree community is a good thing, we care about people. But since you stated in the affirmative that biological sex and gender are different, what is that based on? And I think that's where you guys are missing each other a little bit. What is that based on?
It's based on science, and I'm more arguing for sociology, I would guess.
Okay. So biological sex and gender is based on science. Now, would you like to follow up with this?
Sure. So if we're talking about gender being based on science, when you are born, there are two chromosomes that define what gender you are, XX versus XY. That has nothing to do with the psychological how I feel in my brain. You cannot magically change your gender or your sex just based on the inherent cells and DNA that makes up your body. That is science.
And the common argument, and the one that I was kind of flipping around, is that gender and sex have kind of become separate in terms of their meaning as people have gone on. It's been reclaimed almost by a group of people. What?
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.